Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. You might have just heard our intro where it just was about the radio. So please deal with us while we are doing new branding for everything. But you are watching on TV or listening on the radio, or maybe it's on the replay or on the podcast. However you're watching or listening, we're so happy to have you here. You're watching, presenting Pet Psychic Aminah. No, I am not Pet Psychic Aminah. I am Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and I am thrilled to bring Pet Psychic Aminah out with us today as the star of the show. Hello.
Hey, you have more stars than I do. Look at behind you. I'm jealous.
This is one of my new backgrounds, so
I love it. I love it.
Thank you. It's sort of very celestial, global, or something. I don't
Lights
know.
around the world. There you go.
Yes, exactly. So, how have you been since last week, and what's going on?
Crazy busy, always, just running from one appointment to the next. I'm just really, really, really lucky to do this all over the world. All over the world. I keep telling people I'm lucky that my daughter got married a month ago, and people are, I'm a cup half full person, so I own that. But on Zoom, we were able to bring over 3 countries and people from all over the U.S., so all my family, all her girlfriends from college, and our family from the Middle East. And I mean, nobody had to fly anywhere. They just had to get dressed from the waist up. You guys have no idea if we're wearing shorts or tank tops under our feet or whatever. But I mean, it was wonderful. It was wonderful to have everybody get together. And I just wanted to remind everybody, even in the darkest time, there is positivity. There are things going on that I hope you can grab on, even if for me, some days it's just going for a walk and looking at the flowers and saying, you know what, they opened up today and the honeybees are happy. So I'm happy.
That is a great point, Aminah. I want to share that last night when I went to sleep, I always, say my prayers and then I say I'm thankful for this and that. I had so many things to be thankful for that I thought, I'm not sure if I'm going to fall asleep because I just kept going. And so
Exactly.
It's like, thank you for the oxygen. Thank you that I can see. Thank you. Like my father had a hard time breathing. Thank you that I can breathe. It's just, there's so many things to be grateful for that I just hope people realize whatever your situation, there's something.
Well, and I think people forget that historically, and I have a different place. I taught education and history for a long, long time. So when the pandemic first started, I kept telling family and friends, okay, have you not read about the 1918 flu? Because people came out too soon again. And they got back in public because you got tired, and we had far less people in those days, but there was a tremendous death rate, second time, almost worse. I haven't looked at the numbers in like 15 years, but so we get impatient. But what I encourage everybody is find that rose in the thistle bush. Find that, for me, I love honeybees because everything you eat is from them. Find that flower and whatever that is. I saw a tumbleweed. Do you actually know what a tumbleweed is? I'm looking at your confused face. Anyway, I grew up in the desert. It's a giant stickery bush. And it dries when it dies, and it rolls around because in the desert, there's a lot of wind. Somebody actually bought one off of eBay for like $50. And I was like, dude, for $50, I'll go down to the desert and get you another one. Because that's just ridiculous. They're not that big a deal. So, I mean, there's joy for everyone.
Yes, it's so true.
You want to do it.
So true. And, we always try to be positive and convey great messages. One thing I wanted to bring up, I was reading today, I want to say it was the New York Times, about climate change and the fact that there's so much air pollution, and they referenced Reno and then also the wildfires. I'm just wondering where you are. Are you experiencing any of that?
Yeah, I'm in the upper part of right below San Francisco. So we are getting the smoke and luckily not the ash this time. I know I was in one place, and it was a few years ago, and our cars were just covered. And let me make a recommendation: don't use water because it becomes a mat of clay, mud, stick.
Ooh.
Yeah, ashes is like, get the leaf blower, just not blow it on your neighbor or
Right.
go on a really fast drive on the freeway. But if you can see the window, but yeah, ash getting wet. It's a nightmare. You can ask any fireman, but they're very, 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 very busy right now. Yeah, we were getting it for 3 or 4 days from the San Francisco area. There's a huge bunch of fires up there. We're very clear for the last 4 days.
So you don't have any problem like with breathing? You're not have to stay inside?
Not now, but a week and 2 weeks ago, yeah, for people who have respiratory issues, it's just, good thing you're locked in your house, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Because of this.
And I know you have a great guest with us today, and I think it's important that we look at how climate change, for example, can impact our pets. Right. Because they are living, breathing creatures, or how it impacts the bumblebees or the honeybees. I mean, everything gets impacted by our behavior.
Our way of living is not conducive to the planet. We know that because it's called planet warming, planet heating, planet freezing. I don't care what you want to call all of the things that are going on. We didn't do something, or there was a rumor that it was created in a lab, or it was rumored that you were testing on animals. All of that is not natural. And so if you're going to mess with God's plan, or whatever you think is a higher power's plan, you're going to, because we don't know a quarter of what we should know to mess with DNA or cells. And we want to do it better, and we want to create medicines. But have you ever thought we might not need them if we didn't mess with some things that shouldn't be touched? And that's
chicken
what they
and
warned
egg
us about the labs. Be careful.
Yeah. I wonder, and we're going to bring AJ out. I don't want to digress too much, but I just wonder with space travel and people going to the moon, and they're going to live on the moon, like how does that impact us here and our environment, et cetera? So we don't know, but let's bring
back.
Yeah.
Let's bring some moon dust. Let's just do that. But we have a fabulous guest with Treehouse Tunes, AJ Wanegar, my passion of heart. That's why I get these guests, because where she's taking her talent is to save lives. AJ, welcome.
Hi, AJ. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to the
how
show.
Are you?
Hi. Nice to see you. Sorry, we're digressing a little bit there. Aminah and I could go on and on for hours, I'm sure. So
exactly.
That's okay. Don't get me started at all. I'm only a few days out of the gigantic local flood. I don't know if you guys get that news out there, but
no.
Is your house all right?
We're okay, but not that far from us. There was a huge flash flood, and it happened in the middle of the night. And people were up at 3-4 in the morning and couldn't get out of their houses. There was 2 feet of water inside the grocery stores, and they were stuck up on their roofs waiting to be rescued. And when we're talking about loss of animals, disruption of your circle of life and your ecosystem, it's not just the things we do, it's even the things that nature does. A flash flood wiped out all the living creatures, even the little things in the burrows that the coyotes would normally eat. There's nothing. Everything is basically gone. There were tractor trailers underwater. It's horrifying right here in Tennessee. So,
oh my gosh, so sorry to hear that. I hadn't read about that. Had you, Aminah?
I had, but I had forgotten what state it was in, and I should know better. My sister's in Tennessee. I checked with her. She's not in the flood zone. But yeah, I've been there. I've been there recently, and wow, you just bleed. You just bleed for everybody, and that type of stuff. And I know there's a plan for autocorrect or new growth or new planets, and that's just hard to handle when there's so much devastation. Right now, you need a space to grieve. You need a space to get your strength back. And so, don't ever misunderstand me when I say, oh, we're just going to march on through and it's all going to be positive. No, you need that time to say, this was horrible, But as long as it doesn't last a lifetime, you know, you need to move on and figure out, okay, now what do we do? And these people did that. They got on their roof. They waited for the rescues. They did what they could to maintain safety.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just thinking when you mentioned that, I was thinking, could I get on the roof? Like, that's even hard for some people to even do. Like, how do you just get on a roof,
You
right?
get in the water and you hold on to the edge of the gutter and then you climb onto the water is so high at that point, you can stand in the window. You can't go, where'd that ladder go that, you know, we have?
Right.
No, you're literally jumping in the water, getting out of the house because the house is flooding, and you're crawling up on the roof. Just
Wow.
whatever the roofing is made out of, tile by tile. It's literally get up or get drowned.
Yeah.
And I think too, I want to say, when do you have to?
Yes.
You'd be surprised the strength, the endurance, the ability to overcome even pain or anxiety that you have when you have to.
Yeah.
You know, I had a personal experience with that. I was actually run over by a car, and I had multiple fractures on New Year's Eve at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and there was no traffic, no street lights, no nothing. And I basically walked 2 miles home with multiple fractures, and the hospital said they don't even know how I did it.
Wow. What do you remember about it?
Talking about the body. The body goes into savior mode and recovery mode, and this is what we need to do. So hopefully your brain manages that pain, that manages those breaks, and says, okay, I got to get to point B. I'm in point A and I'm going to die here or drown here or whatever. And it's amazing how your body just shuts down that pain response in your mind so you can trudge on and keep going. But that must have really tried every bone and nerve and emotion in your body.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember thinking that I really needed to go home, that I didn't want to freeze to death there. And I just, you just keep going. And I think that people have more in them. You know, we can endure quite a bit, and we just don't know it yet. You don't know it till it actually you have no choice and it happens to you.
Exactly.
It's that mental toughness. And I'd love to know what your thoughts are, both of you, about animals and how they might be able to have the same capacity that we have when times are, they're put under a lot of stress. Are they able to overcome the physical pain to do whatever they need to do to survive, or to help their owner?
AJ,
Aminah, what are your thoughts?
Let you answer that, because
okay,
it's both our fields. So you're my guess. I would love to hear, because I've not heard you answer this.
Well, I have 4. I always say I have 4 rescue dogs. I actually have 3 here with me today. The 4th one was put to rest about 6 months ago. And the reason why he was put to rest was because as a puppy, he was adopted by a family who put little kids in charge of him, and the little kids weren't mature enough. And so instead of teaching him right from wrong, they would just hit him with sticks and the broom. And he became abused, and then they got sick of him and they threw him out on the street, and he got picked up by a rescue, and then he got put in a crate and shipped across the country and put in another rescue. And this kind of went on in his life for the first, year and a half. And at some point, they're just like people.
We got her frozen.
I hate when people are frozen with their mouth open like that. So we'll wait till she comes back. I'm watching her. So, what are your? Oh, here she's back. Okay.
What happened?
We didn't want you with your mouth open. So
yeah, we're going for a beautiful shot. So he did what after all that trauma?
Well, he came to live with us. We took him in as a foster family to help him. And we spent about a year with him. And what happened was he could never get over his extreme fear of children. And he became incredibly dangerous with children. If he got out of the fence, he would go right after a child who was nowhere near him. You couldn't take him to the park because of it, and it didn't matter how hard we worked with him. He was really emotionally suffering in a way that he could not overcome. And so I think that from animal to animal, it's just like people. Some people can, some people can't. Sometimes the sum of your experiences is more than you can handle. And it doesn't make you weak. It just makes us each individuals.
Well said. Well said. We've got a comment from Tarek. Community do come together to survive and save each other. Yes.
Tarek, I hope and pray that becomes a mantra in everybody's mind. Your words are prophetic in this time. And we really should save each other, because you know what? Best feeling ever is when you give of yourself and there's no money, job, gratitude, except for that it's the right thing to do.
No expectation, just doing it because you want to help someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Tennessee is giving till it hurts. Our communities, immediately rose to the challenge. Last year, I think it was, when Nashville had the tornado that went through, and the flooding in Waverly is no different. And corporations too. I mean, Chewy.com, they came out and worked with one of the shelters that I have a book with to fill a tractor trailer with pet supplies and send it out to the people from the flood to help them. So, we're all working pretty hard.
AJ, for folks who haven't met you before, you've been here on our stage, but please share with our audience what it is that you do and the value you bring to this beautiful world.
Sure. I hate talking about myself, actually. But,
so you came on a podcast to keep it a secret.
Yeah, so you're going to have to remind me to talk about myself. But I'm AJ Wanegar, and my daughter is my business partner. Her name is Mel Delisle. And together, we create and publish children's books that raise money for important charities. And we're largely mission oriented towards helping the animals and the planet. So that's what we do. And so, how it works is kind of a collaboration with a nonprofit. We're turning their true story into a story that helps children understand and fall in love with and respect animals and plants and the dirt that we do our farming and grow our vegetables in. Anything we can do to help the future generations just maybe take a little better care of nature and, the planet that we really need to survive.
Thank you. See, that wasn't that hard, was it?
Oh, it was terrible and painful.
And you do it in service of others, so.
And her artwork is wonderful, and it's very inclusive for me, just being more emotional, is the colors. The colors that you're using, as you can see, I'm a big fan of the same palette type stuff. So you wonder why all your work, not only your hard work of giving back to the shelters that I'm so passionate about, because you know what, we don't need more breeders. We don't need more purebreds, because they have medical problems. I've had 2 purebreds because I rescued them. My daughter has one currently, and I have one. He's passed. And they had a myriad of medical issues, because it's not the perfect animal. Sometimes they just get a little too picky about how slanty, where the ears are, where the fur is. And, some of the best ones have been mutts. And it doesn't matter. If love is there, if kindness is there is so much. But you have to be patient. You have to earn their right to some animals give it quickly. Some people do. But the right ones are worth the work. Just what you did.
So true. So true. We have to take a break, actually. I forgot about that. And because it's Friday, I'm going to play a music video. And did I play Follow Love last week? If not, I'll play Laser Girl.
I don't know. Wing it. I'll say.
All right.
No.
Let's take a look at Madeline Chan from the UK. Her song is Follow Love, and then we'll be right back.
attention she giving me is just not enough. I need a love to take me higher and higher and higher. Every step I take, I feel more awake. Getting closer now, I feel so alive. Stopping me, this is how I live. Ever closer now. Just follow love, and love will take you there. Just follow love, follow me. Just follow love, and love will take you there. Just follow love, follow me. Follow love.
Well, how about that? They were
wonderful.
Yeah, you guys changed places. They were two of the artists that we've had on this platform. The first one was Madeline Chan, and that was Follow Love. The second one was Laser Girl, Dead at First Sight. They're both from the UK, and please, you can go over to iTunes and purchase their music there. All right, back here. We are with AJ and with Aminah. Let's talk a little bit about the pandemic and how it's impacted nonprofit agencies. AJ, would you like to start off with that?
Sure, I'll start. Actually, it came across to me yesterday from a possible client that we're picking up a project with. Something unusual I hadn't heard before, but it seemed to be that it seemed true to me. They said that they're having difficulty with their fundraising. They're really tight, all of them. And it's because all the resources and the charitable contributions available through government and corporations are being diverted over to COVID aid. And so it's aiding people where it used to be like the annual budget that was given to a pet charity. And so they're saying that they're relying incredibly heavily on private donations and donations from local businesses, with their grant funding kind of just falling by the wayside. It's very serious, and it's something that's not really being talked about publicly.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Aminah, did you want to weigh in on that?
Well, I have a question for AJ and Dr. Jacalyn. With your platform, you'll have a great input also. I'd love to get our consensus on. I struggle with yes, I'm compassionate about people, and yes, I want lives to be saved, and yes, I want everybody to get vaccinated, and all of those things, and that type of stuff. But when you work in a separate field, like AJ and I do, with pets and animals that are our focus, it's not that people don't matter, they do matter, and it's balancing that money. Where does it go, and how does it go? Because a dollar only goes so far. You can split it up in many ways, but who gets the dime and who gets the 90 cents is where we're kind of at. So I don't know, AJ, if you've come up with a way. So I have to soft shoe it very, very much with saying, I'd love for you to donate. I'd love for you to donate. I'd love for you to donate. It'd be really, really nice if you donated, and everybody is either working part-time or making sure they're working at all, or giving to their elderly something or other. So I'm trying to walk that fine line of saying lives do matter, like all of them across the board, but there's priorities in everything. And sadly, in the United States, we don't have health care for everybody. We don't have a means for everybody to get, like my insurance gave our shots for free. My daughter doesn't have that insurance, and she had to go pay for it, and it wasn't cheap, to say the least. So, AJ, I struggle to be respectful and still be passionate about, but don't forget about the animals, because like in my world and AJ's world is the same. Is right now all the pets are coming back. For people going back to work, they're just dumping these, literally dumping them in fields, dumping them here, dumping them there, or taking them all back to the shelter. So the shelters are even more trouble now than they were when all the pets at least gave them a break, but they knew it was coming. So everybody try to prepare. What? Hoard dog food, hoard cat food, literally. So AJ, that's my struggle. I would really love your input.
Okay. Well, I think that communities and individuals are kind of on I'm going to call it a tier. Okay, so we have tiers. We have people who are in a really good, solid place, a solid footing. I'm one of them. I'm fairly rooted in my community. It's a small community. We don't have a lot of effects of COVID here because, believe it or not, I'm surrounded by more horses than people.
Yay! Can I move there?
So there's not a whole lot of human interaction here, but we're a small country community. We haven't really been terribly affected by it. I'm blessed to have a great family that backs me, working with my daughter. I love that so much. And, being older now and kind of seasoned and settled, and my husband is retired with a pension. So I can give more to, the causes than, say, single parent in their 20s. They're going to struggle more with what they can give. But that's exactly why I started my program with my children's books, because the way I came from it was, well, gee, you're going to go on Amazon and buy a children's book anyway. Your child is home from school because the schools are all closed due to COVID, and they need to read, they need to be literate, and you need to keep them busy or they'll drive you mental. So you're going to buy them a children's book. You can buy a children's book that doesn't help a cause at all, or you can buy one that does.
Good point. Good points. Right. We actually have a comment that I just want to share.
Yeah.
Let me just share this comment.
Oh, great.
Hi, welcome. Anthony, is it Gianopoulo? Is that right? If you could let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Oh my God, that's a big issue here in the UK. 2 people, I think it's got puppies, and now they try to get rid of them. Anyway, it's tragic. That's wow. So it's going on all over.
Yeah.
There it is.
I'm going to get this cute little thing. I'm going to get this cute little thing, all this kind of stuff. And they're not. What we keep trying to teach everybody is these are lives. These are sentient being lives, and have the right to a long life and a commitment. And yes, tragedies happen, and we do try to rehouse, but it's so easy what you were saying about the dog that got locked in a house to just die. I mean, if you've ever been hungry, ever, think about that magnitude by 1,000.
Yep.
Yes.
I do want to comment on her.
Please do. Yes,
comment. Go ahead. And this is how I'm going to handle it. I'm not in the UK, obviously. I'm in Tennessee, USA. But I'm going to hope that it's similar there like it is here. People don't know, but your community shelters and your community rescues, many of them have programs to help people who, say, took in dogs or cats, and now they don't know what to do. They have to go back to work, and they don't know, where do I bring my dog? I can't afford to leave them at the puppy daycare, and I don't want to leave them home. I don't have time to train them or money to train them. So they're just giving them away. But here, one of the problems has been economics, money for the training, money for the food, money for medical. And a number of the nonprofits I'm working with have community programs to help you with food, if you need food, to help you with spay and neuter, free spay or neuter in most cases, and to help you with medical programs. One of my nonprofits just recently bought a dental x-ray so that they could not only provide dental care at a discount for animals, but also they can skin for broken bones without a vet bill. I mean, how great is that to be able to go to a nonprofit in your community and say, I can't afford it, but I think my dog's leg is broken, and they'll scan it for you and help you.
Wow, that's huge. That's
really
huge. Thanks for sharing that. And thank you, Anthony, for your engaging with our shows. I really appreciate that. She does have
And
a
what
comment.
wonderful comments, Andy. You're right on board with where we're going with just trying to teach and get the message out in all the guests that Jacalyn and I have. All her shows, mine is no different. AJ is here because she's part of my heart passion of what she's doing. She's doing these children's books, and that is funding shelters. How much more love can you do as you pick something you're really passionate about? And by the way, the artwork and the books are great. They're lovely. They're wonderful.
Yes,
it's not like
definitely.
It's a hardship to have them.
By the way, I don't know if you're saying this, but it's actually heart work, right? Not artwork, but heart work. That's what I think of it as. Yeah, both. So I did want to weigh in. I did want to weigh in with a comment about fundraising, because I think regardless of what you're fundraising for, at least in my experience, it is difficult. I fundraise for the Crohn's Colitis Foundation and the National Psoriasis Foundation. And for the Crohn's Colitis, I'm a patient since 91. I'm on the board, on various committees. I run a support group every month. And I can't tell you, I will say to the people who come to the support group, this is for years, would you please donate $1? No, nothing, zero. So I started to delve into this a little bit, because I know a lot of people, right? Like this year, I'm raising money for the Spin for Cures, $20,000. So I know a lot of people, and you ask for donations, $5, anything you can afford. And the answer is no. And here's the reasons that I get. And I'm just putting it out there so that people who are watching now or on the replay can maybe think this through. The first is, if I give $1, everyone will know I gave $1, and they'll think I'm cheap. So then I'll say, no, you could put anonymous. But then it's your name and your card number are there at some point. So someone knows that you gave the $1, or someone, but who cares? Give $1, give $5, because they all start to add up. The second comment I get all the time is, I don't really know that the money goes there. Okay. Now, charities, I don't know if all of them, but Crohn's Colitis, for example, they are part of this, I don't know, evaluation process where they actually see out of every $1 how much actually goes to charity. So in this case, it was 88.2 cents of every $1 would go to the charity. So that makes a huge difference. But I just bring this to light because I want people to know, yes, your $1 does matter. Lose the ego, go with the soul. If you think if we gave $1 to everything that we could, how much that would help people, instead of like, I'm going to wait until I have $100. No, there's no waiting. These causes need the money now. So I just encourage people, think about it that way. Lead with your heart and not with your ego about what you think people are going to think of your donation amount. Okay, done with my soapbox. Thank you.
Wow, that was powerful, because those are the things that I have. Yeah. And
Yeah,
we all are like, oh, but what does my dollar matter? But what about if your dollar is one of 50 that day? It matters. That's for God and the ethos to figure out, and we all just do a little, and then we get the wall built. That's the ego. That's the ego. Okay, Anthony, it's my first time on your show. Yay! But I appreciate what you do, because in general, people need to know how to battle all these issues, from bad breeders to abandonment, even theft, for resales. Wow. Absolutely. Wow. How about that? Thank you so much for being with us. We love when people are watching and they engage with the show. So thank you, Anthony. Absolutely. So what about that thefts of animals for resale? We hear about this a lot with exotic animals, right?
Yeah, but it's not just exotic animals. My family, actually, we were the victims of a dog theft about 5 years ago. Two of our rescue dogs are brother and sister, and they had a mother dog with them. And they were being abused by a family, and we took them in as foster parents, and we were tending to their wounds and giving them medical care and things. And the mother dog, her name was Molly. She had a really hard time staying in a fence or staying in the house alone. She broke out the window once. She pushed the window air conditioner out onto the ground and broke out of the house once. So she, whatever her previous issues were before she came to us, whatever her experiences were, she could not be contained. And this one particular day, she was out on the edge of our property, quite a distance away. I mean, half a mile maybe. And I could barely see her, over there. And a truck came, and the truck stopped, and people got out of the truck, and they were talking to my dog on the edge of the property. And I go running out into my field with no shoes on. I'm screaming her name. And lo and behold, they pull out a big piece of meat, and they picked up my dog, and I'm going to cry. They put her in a truck and drove away, and we never saw her again. And her son and daughter dogs who were with us, they literally cried tears. They were harmed so badly by the loss of their mother, and I couldn't sleep at night. I was afraid they'd come back and take the other two. And it was just terrible. We actually sold our house and moved to a different community because I couldn't sleep. And it's so traumatic. And she wasn't even a purebred dog. She was not a puppy. She was spayed. She couldn't make puppies. And she was just a mutt. And they took her. So it's a really big deal. There's a lot of it, a lot more of it than you think. They steal a dog, and then we call it dog flipping. They put them on Facebook with a rehoming fee of $50.
Wait, this is your dog?
This was my foster dog.
That they put on for sale?
We never saw her again. We don't know what happened to her, but we see dogs for sale all the time, and I'm heavily involved in the rescue groups in Tennessee. When we see, an ad for a missing dog, we're always networking together to try to find that dog before it gets too far away, because they'll take it to another state and sell it, or they'll put it in for bait for dog fighting rings. Sometimes they're just taken by someone who tortures them. It's a terrible, terrible thing. And that dog is family to the person that you took it from.
Wow. Oh my gosh. These are things I never even thought of. Just goes to show you how sheltered I am. Thieves don't care if they can't breed them. They use them as bait for battling. Her UK is really bad in certain communities.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But this is, again, exactly why I'm doing what I do, because I've had the personal loss of a pet this way, and my goal is to step aside of the grown-ups. There's a lot of grown-ups who just believe it's okay to do this. It's okay to treat a dog this way. It's just an animal. They don't have feelings. There's a lot of older people who believe that it's okay. You can't change their mind, but I can change the child's mind so that we break the chain, and when they grow up, they will treat the animal differently. That's my goal. Forget about Grandpa. It's too late for him. Let's work with little Johnny and see if maybe we can get little Johnny to understand you don't want to be hit with the stick. Don't hit the dog either. Don't steal a dog because you don't want to be stolen from your family. And I just think that it's that connection, that they are the same. They're just furry and they have 4 paws instead of hands and feet, but they're the same as people.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
AJ, do you have any of your books there you can share with us?
Sure. Let's see. I have. I can just move over in my screen here and hold these up.
There you
This
go. There you
this is
go.
how I became a hero. And to date, it has raised, I think, about $30,000 for medical care for retired canine heroes. And
Yay.
in a couple months, we will have the second book in this series out. And it's really beautiful and has an awful lot of work in it. It has 9 dogs as the main characters, I think.
Oh,
And
wow.
so there's a lot of drawing there.
A lot of drawing.
But it'll be out in time for Black Friday. So there's that one. And just to kind of show them a little bit maybe of like the inside of the storybook so they can see. They are full color.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And they are, we make them in a higher quality paper and printing than most children's books because we believe they're keepsake books. We believe that, you know, they're educational, they serve a cause, you're going to keep them and hopefully collect them. They plan to have 7 books in that total series. So that's definitely something. Collect them all. We would love to have you do that. And then this one here is That Hopeful Dog, and this benefits a Nashville area shelter program here in Tennessee. And it has a companion book called That Lucky Cat that's actually being printed right now.
It's wonderful. That's
beautiful,
so
beautiful work.
That's so exciting. So, and I'm looking forward. Would you be willing to, you know, like give me a print, you know, just take a picture of the cover and I'll put it on my website and on my feed and that kind of stuff, because I'm just doing a Facebook group and that kind of stuff, because these are just the wonderful things that the women that I usually, mostly women, are talking to. We want to get behind, we want to support. So I'm so glad, and make sure everybody realize AJ's going to be back every month, God willing, and we're going to showcase another book, and we're hopefully going to get her to read a little bit. And
yes, we love when authors read.
Yes, and whatever we can fit in about these topics, because we want to speak to your heart. And if you have a rescue story and stuff like that, I'm sure she can always use more material.
Yes, definitely. I agree.
Next adventure of your book.
And thank you, Anthony, so much for joining us and being a part of our show. We really appreciate it. We love our fans, and we'd love to know what you do. If you just want to type it in the comment section, we'd love to hear a little bit of background about you as well. So I love this show. I really feel like we bring value every week. Thank you, Aminah, for having such amazing friends and guests that are here helping to educate and inspire and motivate. So it's been a pleasure. I think we have to end our show, sadly, because I have another one right after this. But AJ, before we let you go, what would you like the audience to take away from the show today? And how can people buy your books?
Okay, those are good questions. I think, first of all, I'm going to say, you know, there are ways to help. Even if you look at your budget and you say, you know, I really can't just give $20 straight to a cause. I have to buy books for school. I have to buy clothes for my kids for back to school. I have all these expenses. Well, there's more than books. A lot of these charities, you know, you can buy a t-shirt from them and it goes to their cause. Or, you know, you can, you know, send them a bag of cat food that comes from the clearance section in the store. There's a lot of things that you can do. Every dollar counts. Private donations matter. A lot of my books, you can get them either directly from the shelter that they represent, from the cause, or you can order them on my website. We also have some great gift sets. If you need a gift set, if you have like a newborn baby coming into the family, we have baby sets with books and pajamas that you can, you know, you already need a gift. You're going to buy that gift anyway. Buy one that helps the cause. And in the winter, in time for Christmas, we're going to have a beautiful dog harnesses and apparel for dogs that help all these dog causes too. They're going to have my original art on them. They're in production right now. So, if you don't have a child and you're thinking, I really want to help, but I don't have a child, what am I going to do with a children's book? I would say buy your dog a harness and buy your dog a book. I read to mine.
Smart. I like it. Thank you. We do have another comment from Anthony. She would like your contact information. She's a pageant queen and reads books to children, but also volunteers in a dog charity and does wolf talk. So she also writes, excuse her typing. And by the way, why haven't we interviewed you on our show? We love to interview pageant queens on our other shows, not this show, but yes, get in contact with me. We'd love to have you on the show. So she'd like to get in contact with you, so maybe you can reach out through Messenger afterwards.
Absolutely.
AJ?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. All right, thank you.
Last thing, I know you got to go. Anybody who buys a book from AJ today will get a free 15-minute reading from me to thank you for what you're doing. So we're going to sweeten the deal. And AJ and I are going to come up with some wonderful things. So you have to come back every month. She's with me every month, and we'll come up with great things. But so I help with behavior, adoptions, all that kind of stuff. She and everybody can help pick the right pet. I can help. Everybody can help, and you'll get some free stuff from me too.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So buy a book from AJ, get a free 15-minute reading from Aminah. All right.
Yep. Wow.
AJ, it's been a pleasure.
Buy a book from me.
Well, you know what we'll do? We'll just give you a free reading next time you come, and then everybody will know what it's like.
Awesome. I'd love to talk about that for you.
There you go.
Fantastic. Aminah, I'm just going to put your banner, and we're all going to close that at the same time. What's the best way for people to reach you?
bridgingworlds.us. Simple. Everything you want to know about me is there. Of course, I'm on Facebook. Join me anytime. Of course, I'm on LinkedIn, but that's more of a professional platform.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure having both of you here, and thank you so much to our guests for participating with the show. We love it. And stay tuned, because stories of hope, inspiration, and overcoming adversity is coming right up after this. Have a great weekend, and thanks again, Aminah and AJ. Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.